Now joining us on the show this morning to further the conversation on Tinubu's victory and the general conduct of the election is Dr. Chukwuemeka Ezeife, former governor of Anambra State. Good morning, sir, and welcome to Nigeria Decides 2023.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Dr. Ezeife, thank you for joining us. One of the major outcomes of these elections held on February 25 will be, according to analysts and observations, the performance of the Labour Party and the candidacy of Mr. Tinubu and what both represent for the future of elections in Nigeria and also for the electoral map in Nigeria. How important do you think the performance of Labour Party and particularly Mr. Tinubu will seem to be in this regard?
All glory to God. All glory to God. The general election, presidential, revealed so many things to Nigeria, and I thank God for that. I thank all the foreign powers who commented on the election and condemned the integrity of the election. I thank all Nigerians, especially for the way they treated Labour Party. I am very grateful. In fact, I am happy to know how the Southeast, the Labour Party, is taken from the result of that election. Not the result announced by the INEC, which everybody knows is fraudulent. But what we saw, Labour Party winning Lagos, winning across the country, getting meaningful vote across the country. Some people who believed they were rejected are thinking differently now. And the future for Nigeria is brighter by far. I do not believe that Tinubu, my friend, will be sworn in as president. If that is done, it will be disaster. But I think this thing has opened the eyes of Nigerians. We thank the Yoruba, we thank the Hausa, we thank every group in Nigeria for this openness. We are Nigerians. I think that's the message. Don't mind the manipulation that makes people become dead. Well, anybody who knows Nigeria knows it is impossible, especially with the controversies around the Muslim ticket. So I am grateful to God that this happened. I will go and renegotiate with my youths, the youths of the Southeast, and open their eyes to see that this sort of being rejected doesn't exist now. Nigerians consider every Nigerian, and it is no longer necessary to look for anywhere else to go. I think we will have Biafra inside Nigeria. The same kind of Biafra they had during Okpara, Wanawa, both Biafra and Oodua all kinds of groups can now, with restructuring, belong to Nigeria. That what I'm saying is this, that compared with the time of Tafawa Balewa, Ahmadu Bello, Azikiwe, Wabara, Akintola, Awolowo, it was like having your own country or nation inside Nigeria. And that, we go back to that, and the problem will be settled. I don't see, well, one must distinguish between the election as conducted and the election as reported. What to do? Some foreign countries are calling for cancellation. For me, I don't really think that that is the only solution, because it costs money. How much did we spend on this election? What do we have to do? We go back to the documents. We go back to all the systems we used and look at the results that came out, especially those which came out before the problems arose, if there's any problem, or before the stoppage of uploading. We look at it and declare results on the basis of those genuine results. There's no point going to waste more money. We are going on a lot already. So I believe this election has given hope for one Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
Of course, how it is managed is the main important factor. If we do not abandon immediately conscienceless bullion van bandit politics, if we don't abandon it, the country is gone. But I don't see anybody who looks at this election and outcome of it, not from INEC point of view, but from knowing what happened. We must press this smartphone. It helps us know what is going on around Nigeria. And anybody who sees this will change his mind about the future of the country.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Ezeife, and thank you for joining us today. You said some very important things, including the fact that the emergence and acceptance of Mr. Peter Obi across board, irrespective of ethnicity, augurs well for saying that there's one Nigeria. Could you say the same could be said for Muslim tickets, that indeed no longer are Nigerians voting along ethnic or religious divide, but just focusing on competence and the candidates on the ballot, irrespective of whatever religion the person is practicing or whatever ethnic group the person is from? What we're looking for is competence. Could that be said, of the same of the Muslim ticket?
Let me tell you, my reading of the election is that Nigerians are one. That Nigerians believe in the future of the country, and that the new Nigeria is coming and must come. It just gives me hope in the new Nigeria, not in the conscienceless bandit bullion van politics of the past. Yes, you look at the voting, and it is yes to competence, yes to production instead of consumption, yes to integrity, yes to be true to ourselves. The man P2B. I thank God for bringing him. It's not a P2B affair, nor is it Tinubu affair at all. This is Nigeria. Our prayers have reached the heavens, and God has answered us with a resounding yes to a new Nigeria. It depends, whatever else anybody thinks, it's all right, but I see it as success for one Nigeria. But that success must be not on the platform of my brother and friend, Tinubu, being president of Nigeria. It will not happen.
Okay.
Right. So, what would be your take as regards, the reaction of the international community and the speech given by, President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu saying he wants to work with everybody, he wants to bring everybody on board, but the international community has largely said the elections have been fraught with a lot of irregularities here and there.
Well, I am ashamed as a Nigerian that we expose ourselves to all kinds of countries doing that we can be very bad. Russia, that don't seem to have conscience. Look at what is doing in Ukraine. China, America, US, UK, French, all developed countries condemned the organizing of the election, condemned the INEC, and saw our nakedness. That is one of the worst shows by Nigeria. I forgot to mention that as Obasanjo gets older, he seems to become more and more valuable to the nation. And so as many others, there are some people who you wouldn't think have developed enough to be saying that the truth must be said. And now many people are saying the truth must be said. Look at the Ekiti people protesting against the victory of Tinubu. Look at the voting pattern in Lagos. Look at Kaduna voting. Look at the thing is, there are too many aspects. A person who is narrow-minded will just grab one aspect and take it up. Many people would be sorry and unhappy because my friend Tinubu won. In fact, even Tinubu himself, I think he should be praised for and being so rich, being able to believe that money can do everything. And look at it, it was done. So the chairman of the INEC was said to have gone to meet him in the night of the election. And we hear all kinds of stories, which they're not the ones I'm focusing on. I am now reinforced in my view about the feasibility of one Nigeria. I appeal to Yoruba, to Igbo, and to other groups to stay together. Let us work out a system, because we now know each other. We know each other enough, and we shouldn't allow any breakup of this country, because otherwise it is this INEC really means Nigeria should break up. The way INEC went about this election is just to say goodbye to Nigeria. But the truth has come out the opposite. Welcome, New Nigeria. And I want to thank you people for giving me the opportunity to thank Nigerians, for what they have done. And it is a matter of some of the elders and some of the youths meeting and finding a way to get out of this problem. It's not a matter of waiting to swear in somebody who didn't win any election.
But what are your expectations in terms of the way forward? The political parties, the other political parties say they will go to court to challenge the president-elect and the APC in court. But what are your expectations in terms of whatever happens, the way forward for Nigeria? Yes.
Yeah. My expectations are multiple. Of course, some people will go to court. In fact, that is another good thing. Maybe this will provide the justice system in Nigeria opportunity to come back to justice, because we have lost confidence in justice. But this may provide opportunity for the new Nigerian justice system to emerge. But beyond that, there should be a meeting of some groups in Nigeria, and I will appeal to some of the groups. Let me say it clearly, because I'm 85 and dying now is not too early. The Fulani should reconsider what they do in the leadership position they got in Nigeria. It will not be good to continue the way we are going and build enmity between the Fulani and all the rest of Nigeria. And I think it will not be in the interest of the Fulani. And Nigeria needs the Fulani. In some places I say, Nigeria is blessed with many talents from many tribes. And we don't want to lose the talents of the Fulani. But as you know, life is what it is. They cannot continue this thing the way they are going and not be chased out. Those who are not killed will have to leave. But that is the truth which I need to tell my people, because I like our people, I like our country the way it is now. We can call in a group, first of all, starting with Obasanjo and former elders, former leaders, some former governors, and tell them, look at this problem, solve it for us. What is the problem? How to continue? Because Nigeria ends. Nigeria ends if you say INEC is in charge. Therefore, INEC will go and do whatever you have to do. Swear in Jamadan. If you do that, that's the end of the country, because nobody accepts injustice, clear injustice. So we should listen to our elders and the youths also. In fact, I will say, let the youth not start anything yet. Let them wait until the elders and the present people work on a solution. And after that, if it is not solved, then they take over their country. the way they want it. But Nigeria has shown signs of maturity, shown signs of accepting brothers and sisters, shown signs of the longevity of one Nigeria and its greatness. And we cannot allow this INEC irresponsibility to determine the future of our country.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. So in the event that, because we can't be presumptuous with regards to, we can't presume the ruling of the courts if indeed the Labour Party goes ahead to, Labour and the PDP goes ahead to the tribunal. In the event that on May 29, the president-elect is sworn in, he said that he promised to industrialize Anambra State. He's made some key promises to the Southeast, particularly in the area of industrialization. In what ways would you want the Southeast represented in a Tinubu administration?
There will be no Tinubu administration. God in heaven knows it. And if there's Tinubu administration, there will be no Nigeria.
That's quite a heavy statement. At present, he is the president-elect, and we have been, sir, as an elder statesman, we have been enjoined to speak, words that wouldn't further heat up the polity. And so whilst we understand your personal viewpoint, we also recognize the fact that substantially, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president-elect of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and barring any court judgment, he would be sworn in on May 29. So just in the event that he does emerge, what would happen?
I don't know. I don't know. I believe in God, and it's not. It doesn't appear to be the will of God that Tinubu should rule Nigeria. He doesn't hate. God does not hate Nigeria. But if it happens, well, we'll be here. So some people were saying things that are very annoying. They say, "Go and get your visa." That it will never come to that. It will never come to that. The law is clear. Even the declaration of Tinubu as winner is illegal. I'm not a lawyer, but I know how to read what is written down in English. So I read it and I found that it is not illegal. So,
but Dr. Ezeife, the reality is, barring any legal implications or legal judgments, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is president-elect, and we must learn to deal with that, because a lot of people will see your statement as inciting that says he will never be president. He is president-elect as we speak, and that's the reality on ground. And we must be able to reiterate that as much as possible.
The reality on the ground is that following INEC actions, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is president-elect as declared by INEC. That truth cannot be doubted. It is true. And then the question is, assuming nothing happens, and May 29 comes, and he swears he is sworn in, how do I see him performing, helping everyone? Oh, I don't know. He has many people whom, if he cannot do the work, he can delegate to some other people. But I think we have seen enough of such delegations. And I think we have enough people in this country that we should get the right person to do work for us.
Okay. Dr. Ezeife, I'd like to now ask you this. Peter Obi ran a very, robust campaign. He picked up votes in places that people will never expect him to pick up votes, doing quite well in some states, even in the deep north. The question will be, with all of this momentum that has been built now by the Nigerian people, how would you want them to proceed from here? And what would you be your advice to proceed from here?
In fact, my advice is that trusted senior experts should be gathered together to look at the election and propose ways of getting out whatever problems is on the way. We cannot invite our young men to come and tear down the little that has been built. We cannot be so irresponsible as to look at big things and pretend they are not there, problems are not there. So I tell the truth a little bit. I know that what I may see as truth may not be right. So I would suggest that we pray to God to take over the running of our country for us by supplying us the kind of men like Obasanjo and T.Y. Danjuma, like Aya Debanjo, like Edwin Clark, like so many people who can come together and do a solution to this, give a solution to this problem. But if we just ignore it and say INEC has spoken, we may be in trouble.
Okay, sir. Most of the elites in the Southeast did not support Peter Obi. In fact, some of them openly condemned him and said they didn't think that he would represent the interest of the Southeast. But with what he has been able to do, not just for the Southeast, but also for the aggrieved young people of Nigeria and the middle class, do you see Igbo elites turning around and supporting him now for the future, whatever happens eventually? Then I take it, this is the second question. Then I was going to say another thing. The second thing I was going to say is that, well, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is now president-elect. Many people have congratulated him, including the vice president, Professor Osinbajo, who contested against him in the party primaries, including President of General Ibrahim Babangida, who says it's a thing of joy for him that a good man like Tinubu has emerged. And so many others like that who have been jubilating. And all the people who said that they will leave town, they will relocate abroad if Bola Tinubu wins. I've not heard that some of them have rushed to the airport. They are still around. So are you likely also to come around and congratulate the president-elect at some point?
I have already congratulated his doggedness and his belief in bullion van politics, conscienceless or not. But let me correct the impression you gave that elites in the East did not support Peter Obi. That can be so wrong. If you get 100 elites in the East, 95% of them will be supporting Peter Obi in every way. Some people misguided, or I don't understand what happened, made some statements that a person who is very surface will say it's right. Somebody said he cannot win. And now has he won? He has not won. He's even third though, not second. So those who said he wouldn't win we clap for them now. He has not won. But I think most Eastern people, Southeast, South, support, and the support is so massive. We're talking about 80-something% of the votes in most of those places, if you are looking at the right result. So I'm not going to move to America or to US. I'm a Nigerian. Here I was born, here I will die. I'm not moving because anybody is made president. But even those who made that statement, it's just a matter of emphasis of how things are. I don't think that anybody, but the judge is not going to leave tomorrow to India. But I appeal to all of us. We don't believe that we are so good, that we are so knowledgeable, we are so intelligent that we think through and believe what we have said or what we have done in the past are all correct. Please, I think we should remember that we were created by God. And that God in heaven who created us has all the power over everything, over election manipulation, over all kinds of anything. What God cannot do does not exist. Therefore, it is not over at all. And made to deny, we may not witness a swearing in, but maybe the ultimate person to be sworn in is Peter Obi, because he won the election overall.
All right.
But I'm not the authority to declare him the winner.
Yes, sir, you're very right. The only authority authorized to declare the winner of an election is INEC. The only body empowered to make such an announcement is INEC, and thus far, INEC has announced that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president-elect and winner of the presidential elections from the 25th of February. But looking forward, beyond the Southwest, beyond the Southwest elites, within some Southeast states, even your state, Anambra, the governor was clearly and very vocal about not being in support of Mr. Peter Obi. So there were divisions even amongst the people of the Southeast in terms of putting him forward, saying that he wasn't ready, she should come back in 4 or 8 years, and then it would be the turn of, be his turn to go ahead. What would you make of this, especially looking at what this gain of Mr. Peter Obi means for the Southeast as a people, and also for young people in particular who were game changers with regards to this election?
I'm not sure I understand. I know some people in office in the Southeast, some governors, made statements not very much commending Peter Obi, but all political power belongs to the people, and the vote is what we use to know what the people think. And all those who made any statements, in fact, some of them went even like thugs and changed some of the elections in some places in the southeast and the east. I mean, south and southeast. Some killed people. Many things happened, but I thank God that anybody who wants to know can study the election results, even the fake one, even the fake election from INEC, show improvements in human relations around the country. Then the general election is so massively beautiful. I don't know what else anybody can say. People made statements. Now they are in a position to correct themselves. Whether you are governor or whatever, you can make statements that are not based on some logical deduction. And I think because of your position, it will stick. Now, people have rejected all those statements. When 50% is a good score, but when you come to a state and get 84%, 70-something percent, what else are you talking about? It means the people don't know whom they are leading. A governor who makes a statement contrary to 84% of his own people cannot really clap for himself and say he knows what he's doing. So a billionaire doesn't have to have the intellect to know exactly what is going on in politics. Everybody should be forgiven, and let's settle down and rejig the system. If we can survive, the Igbo people will be very proud if their son manages to make Nigeria a more beautiful place. We will not require any privileges, any favoritism, just level playing field. So that's what I would tell you. And thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Chukwuemeka Ezeife, for joining us.